The reaction to the Super Bowl. Boy, oh boy, there's a lot to unpack, including that was the greatest comeback of all time. Matthew Stafford's a Hall of Famer. Bro, people have absolutely lost their damn minds being prisoners of the moment. Ben Simmons shows up to the Brooklyn Nets, and now everything's better, right? Everything's better. All the problems are solved. Kanye West is a man with many problems, but is he being railroaded? The ATF sent out a Valentine's Day tweet. Listen, man, snitches get stitches, but not with the ATF. And Urban Meyer is back at it again, unintentionally, you as usual. And we will talk about that and more. I'm George Reister. He's Ralph Amson, and this is Reister or Wrong. So, Ralph, we will start with the Super Bowl reaction because the first thing that I immediately was hit with was Aaron Donald should have been the MVP. That was no question to me. He should have been the MVP. Cooper Kupp did his little thing, did his little Cooper Kupp thing. But Aaron Donald controlled the game in the second half, and he may be the most dominant defensive player of all time. And he made the two most impactful plays of the game. Was the tackle on Samaje Perine on third down, which made it 4th and 1, and that sack, because if he didn't get sacked, Joe Burrow throws the ball to a wide open Jamar Chase, because Jalen Ramsey fell down as he does whenever he gets beat.
I'm not as definitively in the Aaron Donald for Super Bowl MVP camp. I think I can make a really really good argument, but Aaron Donald made the play that saved the game and saved the lead. That who got them? Who got it for him?
Cooper Kupp.
Right. Who played both halves pretty well.
Not Cooper Kupp. He was invisible in the first half. Invisible.
Okay, well, so was Aaron Donald.
No,
So
Aaron Donald was not invisible because they had to double team him, which made Von Miller be able to get active. Like he only had two of the
well, you
seven
don't think they
sacks.
were defensively game planning for Cooper Kupp as well?
Yes. This is not to say that Cooper Kupp didn't play well or doesn't deserve credit, but the reality is that is that Aaron Donald was a factor from top to bottom. This is exactly why when you try to compare people who play different positions, because receiver is subjective, right? I'm sorry, you are dependent upon other people more than you are for defensive tackle. Now, Aaron Donald can go bust in the backfield every single play. Cooper Kupp can only get the ball if Matthew Stafford can get the ball off. And then he throws a pass within the window of him being able to catch it. So that's why defensive tackles are more valuable than wide receivers. That's why quarterbacks are more valuable than anybody else
Right.
because they have a direct impact on the play, every single play. Like
Mm-hmm.
unless you throw a quick screen every play, and then Aaron Donald has no hope to be involved in it. Aside from that, bro, it, the defensive tackle, the fact that they have to double team him every play, and then as soon as they single him up, he's a terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's more impactful. That's why he was the MVP. Because after Matt Stafford threw that interception in the beginning of the third quarter, it was like Aaron Donald was the reason why they had to kick a field goal. If they go up 2 scores, bro, the game is over. If the Bengals have a better offensive line, game's over. Aaron Donald
But
MVP.
I don't know. That's tough for me because Cooper Kupp scored twice. Cooper Kupp had probably the greatest single season,
Yeah,
regular season
yeah.
in the history of the wide receiver position.
But definitely when you add
And
the playoffs, 178 catches, 2,400 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 33 postseason receptions.
right. And statistically, the only better postseason run was Larry Fitzgerald in the year that they went to the Super Bowl to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. But they asked Larry Fitzgerald whose was better, and he's like, I didn't leave with hardware.
Yep.
Cup's the guy. And so I don't know. I just don't think it's as definitive. I don't think it's as definitive as a lot of people want to make it. I think Cooper Cup deserves as much recognition, at least co MVP with Aaron Donald.
Okay. I could have dealt with a co MVP. I could have dealt with a co MVP. Um, Now, the next thing is, I believe that if Odell Beckham Jr. does not get hurt, the Rams win by more points. First thing. Second thing is, he would have ended up the MVP because they would have defended Cooper Cup the way that they were, and he would have kept on eating.
I mean, that's a guess. That's a guess. Odell was playing well up until jamming his knee, and he deserves a lot of credit for the Rams' success they would have had if they never had to add him because Robert Woods was balling out
Yeah.
before he got hurt. So, um, there it's hard for me to predict what Odell Beckham would or wouldn't do in any given situation. Really seems to depend on his comfort level, his happiness, and how he's being used. If he's going to go off or if he's going to fight a field goal net.
So,
It really just
but
depends. He
but
was balling out though. I will give him that. Yeah, and it really came down to what a lot of people thought it was going to be, which was that like 8 of the top 10 players in the game were all on one side of the ball.
and they
And like several of those players were players that they sold all out to add to this Monstars roster that won a Super Bowl for like I don't know, like a 100,000 total hardcore Rams fans and Stan Kroenke, like, and Matt Stafford's legacy and Aaron Donald's legacy. There's not like I don't know. I just it 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 really felt like this Super Bowl was won for Rob Lowe in the NFL hat. Like if you like football, then you probably enjoyed this Super Bowl. But like no one's happy.
Rams fans are very happy.
What Rams fans? What
Dude, there
Rams
are
fans?
more Rams fans than you. Dude, there's a lot more. They have converted the city because they're winners. LA likes winners. So they have
Converted the
converted.
city to be their number one team.
Yes, it is
No
more.
way in hell. No way in hell
No, no, no,
that
no,
there's
no,
somebody
no,
who
no,
likes
no,
the
no.
Rams more than
I'm
the
talking
Lakers
about
or the Dodgers.
number. No, I'm talking about number one football team over USC and UCLA. They have
You
taken
think that
over
there's more?
USC.
You think there's more
Yes.
Rams fans in LA than there are Raiders fans?
Now, yes, because they've given up on the Raiders. They've given up on the Raiders, bro. I'm telling you,
There are
bro.
not more. There are not more Rams fans than Raiders fans in LA, and there are not more Rams fans and 49ers fans in LA, and there might not be more Cowboys fans.
Okay, so I'm just saying that the Rams is a thing out here now, bro. Like people, like
They had a
the
home
young
Super
kids,
Bowl with 60-40 Bengals fans.
the because it's too expensive to go, man. You got to live here in LA
You
and
think
then
people
pay
in
for.
Ohio have money?
They just have never been a part of a winner, so this is their opportunity. Well, in 30 years, so this was their opportunity. This was their shot. So you shoot your shot, bro. All right.
Where do the people in Ohio get money from? They're not taking out second mortgages on their vinyl siding boxes.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are, bro. To get to the Super Bowl, hell yeah. Who they? Now people were like, oh my God, this is the greatest drive in NFL history. Dude, when Collinsworth was gushing over Matthew Stafford and that drive like that, now mind you, it was a good drive. But John Elway over the Browns, you have uh I mean, good God. I could think 5, 10.
John Elway against the Packers. I know the
Yes.
Packers let them score at the end, but still, that they
Yes.
got in that position to need to let them score.
Yes. You can think about a couple of like Tom Brady against the Falcons. I mean, just so many drives. And that one was assisted by some suspect penalties. So no, it wasn't the greatest drive of all time. But how about this Matthew Stafford Hall of Fame talk, Ralph? I can't. I cannot listen to it. I cannot hear it.
Would Matt Ryan be a Hall of Famer if Tom Brady didn't come back?
He would have a better shot than Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is a one-time Pro Bowler in 2014. And not let alone never been all pro, never been an MVP, none of
Mhm.
that. He didn't even win Super Bowl MVP. How are we talking about, and this is not to disparage Matthew Stafford because he's a good player.
Yeah.
But like this whole, like, people want to throw around Hall of Fame like way too easy. Nothing about Matthew Stafford at this point in time is a Hall of Famer. Nothing.
Who is the quarterback? Because I have one in mind. Who is the quarterback that you consider if you are better than this guy, you're in, and if you are not, you're out? Because to me, that guy's Kurt Warner.
Yes. Okay.
One Super Bowl ring,
Okay.
three
That's
appearances,
like the
like
floor, right? That's kind of the
7 good years. Yeah.
dude. We're talking about, okay. Matthew Stafford is not better than Philip Rivers. And Philip Rivers should be an iffy Hall of Famer because he doesn't have the hardware, but he's got Pro
Right.
Bowls. I think he's got an All Pro. I mean, but Matthew Stafford's got one Pro Bowls are easier to make it to. Kyler Murray's been to a Pro Bowl or two already. Like, what are we talking
Yeah.
about?
I look at Matthew Stafford with a Super Bowl ring, and I put him on the level of a Rivers or a Luck. And Luck doesn't even have longevity.
Yeah.
But to me, like Luck is probably the most talented football player that will never make the NFL Hall of Fame.
No, of course. And he doesn't. I mean, dude, that's like saying, oh, we should put Bo Jackson in the Hall of Fame. No, we shouldn't. No, we
But there's
shouldn't.
still time. I mean, I have so many thoughts on Bo Jackson that line up with yours, and you might be the only person, certainly the only black person, that doesn't try to fight me through a computer screen when the subject of Bo Jackson is brought up.
He is
Incredible,
the best.
incredible athlete.
Honestly, the best thing that happened to Bo Jackson's like legacy is him getting hurt because it was always been that what if, and that's
And
why
if he
he's been able
hadn't,
to
I mean,
last. No, go on.
there would have been a chance that he would have ended up like the because how do people talk about Herschel Walker?
Really good back, like
Like
football
and like
heads.
ridiculous physical
Yes,
specimen,
correct.
once in a lifetime athlete.
Yes.
And I've never understood what the difference was between Bo Jackson and Herschel Walker.
Yeah, we're talking same guy, except for one guy could play baseball too, and smash balls
Yeah.
over the fence. But
Some part of me
truthfully,
feels like they put Bo Jackson in a cartoon with Wayne Gretzky and Michael Jordan. You remember that?
yep, he
Yeah, they
didn't
put
belong.
but the people who were my age were like, that must mean that he's the best.
Correct. Yeah, and it's not that
Yeah.
he's not supremely talented. It's just a matter of he just didn't have the career to back it up. Like
Hmm.
he's more legend than he is, actual substance. And granted,
So
I'm a Bo Jackson fan. I like Bo Jackson. I would love to go, shooting bow and arrows with Bo Jackson. I still feel the aura and everything else, but just practically,
yeah,
if we're being honest, he's not a great all time running back.
I am I I am with you, and people can. It'll be nice to have the hate be diverted two ways. Um,
All right,
I
so
think Bo Jackson is cool. I just when I think of two sports stars from that era, my guy's Dion, and
D,
that's it. And speaking of Dion, I also when I think of Dion, I put him in a class of like 5 or 6 guys that I would put up there for the best defensive football players of all time. Now you're starting to see Aaron Donald's name mentioned, even though he's only 8 years in. So I went in and I broke down where he was at relative to some of the guys that I have in that conversation
okay,
for me.
okay,
Reggie White through 8 seasons also had 7 Pro Bowls, had 26 more sacks, but 5 less forced fumbles. Lawrence Taylor actually had an MVP. No defensive player has won it since then.
Aaron Donald
Um,
probably should have won one in in
yeah,
in in that process.
you're right. Dion had one more Super Bowl ring, but 4 less Pro Bowls at this point in his career. And Junior Seau had 7 Pro Bowls through 8 years, but he didn't have a Defensive Player of the Year. And I think
Yeah.
Aaron Donald's at like 3 now.
Three.
Um,
And Aaron Donald has something that none of them have so far throughout his, he in addition to the Pro Bowls, he's got 7 All Pros. 7 consecutive All Pro. Like Pro
yeah.
Bowls are cool, but like Kyler Murray gets in the Pro Bowl, Justin Herbert gets in the Pro Bowl. Like and not to say they're not good players, but there's a difference between a Pro Bowl and an All Pro. An All Pro means that you are either number one or number two at your position. Period. That's it. That's it in the whole entire league. You are number one or number two. So, and Aaron Donald has been there 7 consecutive times, starting in his second season. Are you kidding me? And it's not getting any there's no fall off. He's like
So
a
let's say
cheat
that
code.
he decides to pull a Barry Sanders and step away.
Hall of Fame, first ballot, nothing
Well,
to talk
oh,
about.
absolutely, absolutely. But then, is it the Barry Sanders thing where we say like, oh, he dominated literally from start to finish, therefore he is the best? It's
Mm,
tough when you're
I
talking defensive linemen,
see. I do think that. See, if he puts together 2 more seasons to get to 10 years, and he's doing this same thing, like if he puts together 9 consecutive All Pros and is like, all right, I'm done, he would be the greatest defensive player ever. I mean, there's nothing to talk about that. I mean, there's literally, and in the playoffs, he's played well too. Like it's not like he's just been a regular season hero. He goes to the postseason and dominates too. So yes, I am putting him up there with the Lawrence Taylor, Reggie Whites, and then Dion is a unique case because I don't think that you can put like a guy like Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu in that conversation because they don't impact the game on every single play, like I was saying, like a defensive tackle does or a defensive end. So it's not that they're not great; they just don't have as big of an impact. That's why when they rank 5 stars, it's hard for a safety to be number one unless he's a
right?
two-way player like the kid that's going to Jackson State this year. Like
Travis Hunter.
yeah, you have to be a two-way player in that case. That's why quarterbacks, offensive linemen, or D linemen pretty much always end up number one in the class.
Yeah. So I got a couple more questions for you. One of which is, it really seems like neither one of these teams is, every year we go in and we're like, oh, this team has a wide window. Like there could be 3 or 4 years where
No,
they're competing to get back to the top. Both of these teams, one of which like bet everything on today,
the lane
and
is narrow. The gate
right, and
is narrow.
back up, I'm stuck. Best Sports Center commercial ever. But the other thing is the Bengals have Hell Week every week. Every week. Like they have Hell Week. Like they are in the AFC where all the good young quarterbacks are in one of the toughest divisions in football.
Yep. Yeah, dude.
So
It's
who has a better chance at showing up in the 20? Who has a better chance of showing up in Glendale, Arizona next year?
neither one, neither team, because the Rams are going to. They may be able to get OBJ back now that he's probably has a torn ACL on a cheap one year deal, maybe. Um, but they're likely gonna lose Von Miller, some other pieces. How do you rebuild this offensive line? Because Matthew Stafford needs a new contract. Whitworth is gonna be gone because he's gonna retire. So now you need a left tackle. And you can't draft a left tackle that you think is going to be a starter because you don't have a first, second, or third round pick.
Yeah.
So so now you're like, all right, so now the offensive line is going to be back in shambles like it was for Jared Goff. And then we will see what this team is going to be, a potential playoff team for next year. But in terms of Super Bowl, nope, nope, unless they can pull an O-line miracle.
Is Joe Burrow enough to make the Bengals competitive in the free agent market? Because I know that, there's a million different stories about Mike Brown not doing everything he can to get the best players available. They do a good job at re-signing their own guys.
Yeah,
I feel like over time.
yeah.
But is it
So
going to be
you're asking,
enough?
is
Like
Joe Burrow enough to get other people to want to come to Cincinnati?
right,
The
over
an-
Buffalo, over Kansas City.
the answer is yes,
You think so?
but is Joe Burrow enough? Yes. Will Mike Brown do it? Who knows? See. Now that's the difference. Is that people are gonna be like, yeah, dude, they look like they're having fun. They got a good, competent head coach. They got a good quarterback. He's young. They got some good players on defense I can play with. They run a good scheme. Seems like they have a lot of fun on the team. A lot of talented people to be around. So yes, but will Mike Brown do it? Your guess is about as good as mine, homeboy.
Uh, Another question: with Brady retiring and Witt retiring off the Rams offensive line, there's not a single player in the NFL that is older than you, is there?
Damn, this is the first time. Correct. Jeez. Correct. This, yes, I am. I would now be the oldest player in the NFL because everybody from my draft class is done playing now. Everybody. So yes. Wait, I'm pretty sure everybody's done. But yeah, if because Witt was the oldest player at 40 and I'm 40. So yeah. Yep.
That's
I
wild.
think everybody's done, finally done from my draft class, and I've been done for 10 years.
Is there anybody? Is there anybody in the NBA older than you?
Older than
Who's
me,
the
or the amount of years? Because LeBron James came out the same year that I did. He got drafted the
right?
same year that I did,
Hmm.
but he's younger than me
Right.
by what,
Uh,
3 years?
is what's his name still playing? The um chemistry guy in Miami.
Oh God. Well, yes, UD Udonis Haslam is still
Udonis
playing.
Haslam.
Well, actually, I
Yeah.
don't know if he's played in the game this season, but he did last year.
Okay. Let me check. Do you think he's over 40?
Yes, for sure. I'm 100% positive that Udonis Haslam's over 40. 100% positive.
He is still on the Heat, and he is 41 years old,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's from the 2002 draft class.
Mm-hmm. So,
Nice. Okay. So last question. Actually, two more. One is, will Eli Apple ever play football ever
oh
again?
my God, bro, I didn't understand. Okay, so I understood the fan hate for Eli Apple, right? Because that's what
Right, because the
fans do.
one thing you can never do is call out a fan base. It's the cardinal sin
Yeah,
of pro sports and
yeah,
college sports. If you can be right, you can be right, or you can be happy.
yep,
You can't even if you have the worst fans on earth, you cannot say that out loud. You just can't.
yep. And so you understood why the fans were roasting Eli Apple. But when
Yes.
other players started roasting Eli Apple, I was like, what did he do to you? I mean, Mike Thomas, who's the most sensitive player on earth. Uh,
Ever.
yes, he's Ralph Tresvant of wide receivers. He came after him. I was like, bro, why do they hate him so much? I mean,
He did go after McCole Hardman after the AFC Championship. He is a trash talker, but god dang.
yeah, no,
Like
he's
I've never seen anybody get. There's. I was thinking about it. I was like, man, who would bring him on after that? Because he's not going back to Cincinnati.
yeah, like
I'm
dude, it reminded me of the Adrian Bronner. God damn, I'm getting cooked out here.
And what's crazy is, yes, he gave up the game-winning touchdown to the best wide receiver in the game right now,
Yeah,
but he
like
actually didn't
pretty
play
much
that bad.
everybody would have done.
Yeah, he didn't play that bad. He played better than Jalen Ramsey.
Yes. Oh yeah, dude. Jalen Ramsey got cooked, and had Aaron Donald not sacked him, he would have got double cooked for the game winner. So like, I don't want to hear any more Jalen Ramsey shut down corner, because here's the thing: is elite corner play. You can be the most elite corner with the way the rules are set up and how good these wide receivers are. If you have an upper tier uh, cornerback versus an upper tier wide receiver, the wide receiver is going to win in that game if he's got a competent quarterback. Because
Mhm.
dude, because what happens is that teams get afraid of corners. Oh, and we're not going to throw at the guy. Listen, he's not used to that much work. If he's got to cover 13 balls a game, bro, he's going to be exhausted. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to get frustrated, and he's going to get roasted. It's just,
Yeah.
yes, he's going to make some plays, but at the same time, bro, I don't know why people, when they have good wide receivers, stray away from anybody. I'm throwing at the top guy because
Mhm.
he's going to get penalties. He's not used to having to play that many plays, high leverage plays per game because he can dominate lesser guys.
And up until 10 years ago, if you had a top 5 corner in the league, they would take away half the field.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
not even 10 years ago. You might be able to stretch that to 7 or 8. But I came up watching Aeneas Williams, and it was crazy because the Cardinals would still find a way to lose 12 games a year with whoever was on the other side
Yep.
because they literally could not throw on Aeneas Williams. When the Cardinals got good enough to make a playoff run, they ended the Cowboys dynasty by lining Aeneas Williams on up on Michael Irvin, and he
Yeah.
just it shut him down. And I remember the same thing was for the most part with Dion, Darrell Revis. That like there's been all these corners. I just don't think that's a thing anymore. I think Jalen Ramsey has all of the tools to do it, which brings us to another subject: the the officiating. I did not have a problem with the officiating.
I did
A lot of people
at the
wanted to
end of
talk
the
about it.
game. I did have a problem.
Okay, so here's my thing because what a lot of people are saying is the game was refed one way for 58 and a half minutes and another way
It
for 90
was.
seconds. Fair. Would you rather it have been refed the way that it was refed for the last 90 seconds for the whole game?
No.
Because I would not have.
No, it would have been
Because
miserable.
the Bengals got away with absolute murder on the touchdown pass.
Yeah.
Absolute murder.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then outside of the Logan Wilson like ticky tack defensive holding, they were kind of doing the Legion of Boom thing and seeing if they could hold on every play.
Well,
Every play.
but so were the Rams DBs. See,
Yeah.
here's what I think about it. The I hated the way the game was officiated at the end of the game. Okay, hated it.
Hmm.
Thought that there were some two questionable calls. It was refed one way for 58 minutes, 2 minutes it was refed another way.
Right.
So, but at the same time, I do not believe the officials dictated the outcome of the game because they missed the call on the T. Higgins touchdown. They also, they let them play, but then the Rams had every opportunity to come back in. I'm sorry, the Bengals had every opportunity to come back and score with plenty of time. They just didn't get it done. So, like, I don't blame the refs because I do think that the Rams probably would have scored anyway. So I don't blame the refs. I just at the same time know that yes, I don't like the calls, but I do believe that the players dictated the outcome of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I just didn't I saw a lot of people talking about that exact thing and I was like, what would you like for them to not
Oh
keep the
God.
flags in their pockets? Because
Oh
I thought it was great. Outside of that one very obvious Jalen Ramsey getting his head jerked around
yeah,
and falling
and
over.
that was just a matter of because of the way it happened because his back was to the officials. You couldn't really the official can't really see it, and the other guy's too far away to see it.
Yeah.
So like it was just a bad. It was one of those things that I don't mind in the game. Miss calls don't bother me. All right, next thing up, Mr. Benjamin Simmons, Australian man, is now over at the Brooklyn Nets. He is their problem now. But there's been questions because he got up and answered questions today about his situation, his mental health. He was like, I was in a dark place the last six months. I'm smiling again now. And, you know, like a lot of times people think that when just getting in a new situation is going to fix things. But Rich Paul told him, "Don't take this route. Go play." And he didn't want to take that route. He felt like the negativity there in Philadelphia was too much for him. And he's going to find out real quick that the Brooklyn Nets are going to that the New York fans are going to do him the same way if he does the same thing.
Like at least Philadelphia fans will love you if you play hard. But I don't think Brooklyn fans love anything. I don't. Name a Brooklyn Nets or New Jersey Nets player that you feel like has the heart of that city.
Brooklyn Nets. Oh my God.
Who do they love? And not just for their ability,
Well,
but
they
for their
used to
time.
love this guy, but he's made it impossible to love him. Is what's his name? Williams, Jason Williams.
Jason Williams, and then now you're going back like almost 3 decades. Um, they had their issues with Derek Coleman, but I felt like maybe
Yeah,
I've only there's been one Nets player ever, one Nets player ever that I can remember, and I'm sure we'll have people come out and tell us that we're wrong about this, but that's Drazen Petrovic.
whoa. Okay.
That's it. They love him. They love him. Otherwise, with the Nets, they tried the big three thing before,
Yeah, but
with
they
bringing
weren't
in
there for long enough to try to love them, though. You know what I mean?
right, but the current big three only played like 16 games together, and now they're bringing in Ben Simmons. Like what I'm saying is, yeah, there's a lot of pressure in Philadelphia, and yes, that fan base seems to have found a way to ruin Jaleel Okafor, Markel Fultz, and Ben Simmons. But they will love you if you play hard for them. They will.
Yes.
Nobody's loving anybody in Brooklyn. So if you're just saying that you want the alleviation of pressure, I understand that. Is it coming from inside the organization? Is it coming from the fans? Obviously, Joel Embiid did not a lot to be like the warm, fuzzy big brother teammate, but that's not who he is. He's like Shaq if Shaq was only an internet troll and didn't, come out and speak for himself.
Yeah.
Um, can you imagine? Can you imagine Joel Embiid getting the mic at a club after winning a title and saying, "Ben, tell me how my ass tastes," over and over and
Oh my
over again
God.
to the beat like Shaq did. Shaq
Yeah.
did that to Kobe.
Yeah, and that would have been, oh my God, dude, he would have went to go cry in the car.
Yeah, I okay. So let's really get into it, this Ben Simmons thing, because here is what I have seen all day the last 2 days on the internet. Ben Simmons has come out and said like he needed a new situation, needed to find himself again, just wanted to be happy, right? And you've seen a lot of people come out and say it is unfair for people to say that this was never a mental health issue.
Why is that?
Well, because you can't. I mean, I saw some pretty. There's an NFL agent that I follow who I'm a huge fan of. Then this kind of gave me some pause, and I took some time to think about it. It was basically like everybody that's ever like committed some act of self harm. You have people come out of the woodwork saying like, I never knew, they never gave any indication, stuff like that, right? So if somebody is claiming to have mental health issues, why would you go so far as to not believe them? And how will the people in your life who are struggling with something but don't want to be public about it view the things that you say about sports star in Ben Simmons? Could that make the dialogue worse? Could you make it harder for your own people with the way you talk about Ben Simmons? And that's something that I've thought about, but I still come back to like there's a frustration there for me for the fact that we can't draw a line between mental illness and mental health, like feelings,
Yes.
things you can
Yes.
control and things you can't. And I feel like it's
Correct.
important to draw that designation.
Yeah, because you're going to go through hard things. But the whole point is, if you're not dealing with a mental illness at the time, you got to find a way to push through it. And the reason why, and I was talking to my 10-year-old about this the other day. He asked me about anxiety. And I was trying to explain to him the difference between having an anxiety problem or like an illness, having anxiety, and having anxiety about something, that you can feel a little bit fear and trepidation about a game, or like you can feel anxious. Normal feeling, everybody gets it. But there's a difference in being anxious about a particular thing and saying, "Oh, I have an anxiety issue. I get anxiety all the time. This is because anxiety, like having some anxious feelings are normal. Like you are supposed to have the gamut of emotions. Like sometimes you feel fear. Fear is not a bad thing. If you're overcome by fear continuously, that's a bad thing. But if you feel fear, that's actually a protection mode sometimes. And but fear will also make you make bad decisions as well. So just having a handle on the difference in having a an acute thing happen to you, an acute feeling, and actually having some sort of mental health designation is completely different.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to make some type of distinction with here is if you have people in your life who are completely incapacitated by mental health issues where changing a job wouldn't do anything for them
Yeah, correct.
because it is a chemical issue. Like it feels unfair to equate somebody who is happy the day after they change jobs and somebody whose happiness is dependent upon external factors like medication or
when
something along
when you don't
those
even know if
lines.
this new job is going to be better. You
Right.
don't
And
even know
when
if the new
right.
job is providing a better work environment.
Or if the call was coming from inside the house. Like if it was just if it was an inability to square your situation up with the criticism that you were receiving and the pressure that you were facing. Like we have to draw a line here. Like adversity exists, and the ability to overcome adversity is a tenet of life. Like when you get to the point where your feelings are affected by a situation, an enormous part of the maturation process is to find a way to reconcile your feelings from an intrinsic place. Like your
Yes.
satisfaction comes from within. Your ability to stand 10 toes down in your own values makes it so that you don't go back and forth with the tide. And everybody has to learn that lesson. You can hit the snooze button on that, though. You can hit the snooze button on that by changing your circumstances. I know plenty of people in my life who go and get a lineup or go and get a cut and dye, and they will feel better for 8 or 9 days and not have to deal with the situation that drove them to go get a haircut in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that they're or a massage or some people like a one hitter or a six pack of beer. Like there are ways to defer dealing with situations, um, but you still have to ultimately deal with. You're still going to face those same things. You have to
Yes.
find a way to work through issues. And I do understand people saying like, yeah, your environment can cause you anxiety. I worked at a job one time, George, where my values didn't align with the values of the company. My blood pressure went crazy. It went crazy. I had to quit. I
Yeah.
had to quit that job. And I didn't get a chance to. They fired me, which ended up being the best thing in the entire world. But like my physical well being was connected to that issue. So I want to say like that's definitely a thing that you have to take into consideration. But that was an issue of values, like personal values, not this job is hard, not
Yep.
people are criticizing me for the way I do this job.
Yep. Now, more criticism has been piled upon Kanye West lately. Um, Dude, now, okay. I don't feel bad for Kim. I don't feel bad for Kanye. I don't feel bad for either one of them. I've been through a lot of family drama as it relates to kids and all of this. So I understand. I do feel sympathy for how hard this is on the kids and how mentally taxing it is on both of the parents. And right now, they're in the early stages of this. So they are going to be fighting over things that 10 years from now, they're going to be like, why the hell was I fighting over this? This was just a waste of time. First thing, right? Second thing is, this is what Kim does. She puts you in the blender, and then you come out like when it's time for you to go in the blender, you are at the same time going to get spit out of the blender. Kanye knew it. He just thought he was different. She benefited from being with Kanye West greatly, greatly, just like she benefited from being with Reggie Bush. So like she passed both of those guys. Well, I don't think she's passed Kanye, but now she wants something else, which is probably reasonable because dealing with Kanye is an issue. But now Kanye, it was
I
out
need
with
your definition of past. Are you talking to like societal cultural relevance?
what do you mean?
You said you don't think she's past Kanye. You think she benefited from being married to Kanye, but you don't think she's past him. What does that mean?
Like past him in terms of world relevance. Like like who do you think is more relevant worldwide? Her or Kanye? I think Kanye.
I think it really depends on what's important to you. So let's take Instagram, right?
Okay.
How many followers do you think Kim Kardashian has on Instagram?
I think a couple 100 million, like 200 million plus.
Okay, what about Kanye?
Well, he's just getting on Instagram, so he's probably close to 75 million, 100 million maybe.
Okay. 284 million versus 13 million.
Yeah. Yeah. But Kanye also has more followers on Twitter, I believe, and that's where he used to communicate the most. And then people follow Kim Kardashian because she puts her ass out, bro. Like, dude, if you put very sexy things on the gram, you're going to get more followers. It's just a fact, bro. I'm just saying, bro. It's just a fact.
She has more than double his total followers on Twitter.
Oh, well,
I just I don't think she needed enhanced. Sure, you can. I'm sure the word enhanced has been used in the same sentence as Kardashian 300 trillion times. So let me just add that I believe maybe her situation was enhanced. Um, but I think he got swallowed up by her universe.
wow. You think so?
I do. I do. I don't know how many. I I think that Kanye West is relevant in two worlds:
Okay.
music and fashion, and pop culture in general. Music, fashion, pop culture in general. He tried to become relevant in politics. Kim Kardashian is relevant to the only world that really matters:
Okay. What world is that?
women who watch more than 45 minutes a day of the E network.
Ah,
There's like 30 trillion of those people
yeah.
in this world.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you're saying you don't feel bad for either one of them.
I feel bad for the situation that they're going through emotionally because it's tough. But I do think that Kim is doing things to gaslight Kanye intentionally, like knowing, like intent, like they're not even fully divorced yet, and she's making sure that because if she wanted to be more anonymous, she could with Pete Davidson, she could, but she's not doing that intentionally. Like there are things that she's doing because she knows it's gonna set Kanye off, and she's hoping that that ends up giving her full custody of the kids. And so, dude, some of this is very, very intentional and manipulative. And I also think that Kanye's not helping it by hanging out with Julia Fox and kissing on her when at the same time he's like, I want my family back. Bro, like make up your mind because you're not gonna be able to out petty her.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, the stuff that he's doing is crazy. I'm not trying to side with Kim Kardashian
It's
here. I'm
only
just saying,
crazy because it's Kanye. If it were just a normal runner that didn't have Kanye's past, and but like this is the problem with being a genius because Kanye is a genius.
yes.
Is that you run these lines right? Like you're always running in like you're close to redlining at all times. So and where Kanye is a genius about things, he has some great thoughts about life. He's got some, but he's also got some wacko thoughts. Like some of them work, some of them don't. But that's the part of being a genius. So if you take away his past of the wacko things that he's done, then the things that he's doing now would not seem so bad. They'd be like, "Oh, I understand, dude. He wants his family back. He doesn't want his daughter on TikTok. Like these are normal things that people fight about."
Or is he promoting an album release? Like, is he using his domestic situation to try to sell records? Because that would be gross.
I don't think he's manipulative in that way to do that. But
You don't think
but
every time he's about to drop an album, he attacks people, whether it's Taylor Swift or
mm,
Drake or
that's
Billie
a good
Eilish? Billie Eilish is 20.
no, that's a
She's
good point.
20. She's
That
20. What is he
that's a fair point. That's a fair
blaming
point.
Hillary Clinton for Pete Davidson being with Kim Kardashian? He is.
Dude, he's
I
conspiracy
want to
Joe right now.
believe.
He's been hanging out with Joey. So
But the stuff. I mean, the worst thing in the entire world to read is like literally anyone's divorce proceeding
yeah,
depositions,
don't do it.
because these lawyers convince people to like, hey, that stuff that got said in private in anger in your kitchen 13 years ago. Try to remember that word for word because we're going to include it.
Yes, exactly.
And that but that's happening without a divorce lawyer even. How
Yes,
it's just sort of all out there, and there
exactly.
are
And
kids
he's just
involved.
giving more things for the divorce
Yeah.
lawyer to pile into the statement
You
about
know what's
custody.
funny though is the you see all the time, you see that kids, because of divorce, act out, right?
Yep.
But what if you're the one doing it and you take all the oxygen out of the room? They don't even have room. Because I feel like that's what's happening here. Is like
Yep.
their kids are just going to end up well adjusted because there's not even room for them to 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 go off the deep end.
You could end up like Rob, bro. You could end up like Rob, who's been through the ringer. Um, all right. Now, speaking of through the ringer, the ATF wants you to put people through the ringer. And here is the tweet that they put out on Valentine's Day. Quote from the ATF Twitter. Uh, 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 what the Tobacco and Firearms Adjudication arm of the government. Valentine's Day still, well, I should be able to read. Valentine's Day can still be fun even if you broke up. Do you have information about a former or current partner involved in illegal gun activity? Let us know and we'll make sure it's a Valentine's Day to remember. Call 888 ATF TIPS or email the ATF TIPS at atf.gov. Ralph, I couldn't, bro. This and then they posted a picture with it that said, "Got an ex who buys or sells guns illegally? We would love to meet and treat them to a Valentine's Day surprise." They're out of pocket for that, Ralph. They are out of pocket.
There's a lot of reasons to be mad at the government right now. This is this is wild.
Dude,
I
they're
do not
encouraging
care for that.
weaponizing and swatting. They are encouraging swatting.